What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Happy Hour. It's the show that's new every time, and it's very, very exciting. And unlike last week, that was a bit of a hiccup. I have a very classy, respectable guest today. You might know her as Miss Movies from her amazing show, Film Therapy, and of course, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. It's Brianne Chandler. Brianne, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hello. I'm doing okay. Today is better than yesterday. Yesterday I was like, I don't want to get out of bed. I just don't. I would like to stay here forever. You have those days, right? Where you're just like, nope, don't want to move.
I have those days all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not alone. I'm very pleased to hear this.
Yes. So, we don't really have a topic per se planned for the show. So, I mean, there's a lot going on, obviously, in the world of the Schmoedown and all the other types of things in the film industry that we're all very, very familiar with. But we thought maybe it would be fun to talk about, well, literally anything else.
Anything else.
So,
anything else.
So we're just gonna spitball and see where things go. Yeah,
that's right. I mean,
these are lawless
This could go
times.
many places. I could start film therapy here and be like, what's a film that inspires you, Brandon? And then we just go into it. And then it's like, well, guess it's film therapy now.
We'll see. That would be really interesting indeed. A show within a show?
A show within a show. Wow. Who knew? Who would have thought that we would be doing that? No one. You didn't even know. Okay, so what's a film that inspires you?
A film that inspires me. Oh my goodness. There are so many, but I guess the one that just popped into my head right off the bat, I know the real life person it's based on might not be the best, but I absolutely love Rudy. It's
okay.
So good.
Might not. I love them. Might not be the best.
I haven't heard great things. Although, I mean, I think you can actually hire him as a motivational speaker. So maybe
he's probably on Cameo. We should look that up.
Ooh.
Wait, I'm gonna look it up. Wait, I don't know his actual full name.
Yeah, what is Rudy's last name? If you're in the chat right now, maybe PLD or somebody knows, even though PLD and those call to action.
He knows everything.
Thanks for showing up, I guess.
That's good news.
Yeah, but no, I do love that movie.
What about, is it just it's an inspiring tale, or has it inspired you to I'm gonna play football? What did it inspire you to do?
It is an inspiring tale for sure. Just someone who had the odds completely stacked against them, believed in themselves anyway. Not only to attend and graduate from a very famous school, but also play football for one of the, I guess, famous college football teams in the nation. And to be able to do that when everyone was telling you can't, that's something that I think we could all find relatable and inspiring. Of course, the Jerry Goldsmith score is
you love him because he does Star Trek, right?
Who doesn't love Jerry Goldsmith?
Okay, I see in the chat Billy Paulahan says Rudiger. I would say Rudy Rudiger. I hope I said it right. Let's see if he's on Cameo. And I'm gonna answer this question right now. That something just happened, and that did not work. That did not work. I will try it again. Wait, I can't even scroll anymore. Never mind. Somebody please tell us if he's on Cameo. It's broken. It's broken now. Okay, wait. I'm gonna try again. No, I'm not trying again. There we go.
Yes, real name Daniel, by the way. Maybe he's under Daniel.
Daniel, but people wouldn't know him as that.
Right? That's true. I don't know. Maybe he likes to keep it formal.
Oh, here we go. His name is on here. Oh, you can get Daniel Rudiger for $100 on Cameo. Sold. Well, 99 technically 99. You save $1.
It's a bargain.
There we go.
They're practically giving those cameos away. Maybe I'll request one and play it at the beginning and the next show.
There you go. I would love to see that. Let's all pitch in to have Rudy be like, Brandon Hanna is the best. Never give up. Okay.
Comment down below. What do you want Rudy to say to me?
Rudy will be like, I know what you're going through on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown right now, and it's this same journey of which I went through at Notre Dame. Yes. And at the end of the day, people are going to be chanting your name. That's
Sold. Right. I'm going to have them say that word for word.
There you go. Someone do the transcript of that. So Rudy, I saw this movie because this came out, I want to say late 90s. Was it late 90s? Or early mid 90s, mid to late 90s, somewhere around there is what I'm guessing. And then I didn't see it until probably 2010s, I would say.
Oh, wow, really? That late?
Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe I saw it early 2000s. I can't remember. All I know is that I didn't watch. I very specifically was like, I am not going to watch that because that is Notre Dame and I am USC. And there is no way that is happening. Because like those that know that USC and Notre Dame are actually like the original rivals. UCLA came along later when UCLA was made, but that's just because they're the crosstown rivals. But the actual rivals of USC is Notre Dame. And therefore, I was like, no, I'm not going to watch Rudy. And then at some point, it was probably because maybe even later, like I was playing in the Schmoedown, I was like, I probably have to know this film. Like it's most likely going to come up somewhere because everyone talks about it. So it's time. And I do love Sean Astin. He's so great. But like, and Jon Favreau, but like.
Vince Vaughn is also in the movie.
Oh, of course he is. Wait, who plays Joe Montana? I can't remember. Someone plays Joe Montana in the movie.
Joe Montana's in the movie?
Someone plays him, obviously he's not in the movie, but yes, someone does play him. I can't remember who it is. Anyways. Yep, that's my story. Notre Dame sucks.
I mean, you heard it here first. Notre Dame. I mean, in the movie, they don't suck. I like them in the movie. I can't speak about Notre Dame in real life.
I am rooting for him by the end. I'm sure there's a lot of things that were changed for Hollywood, like them all going in with their like jerseys or whatever to be like, I'm not going to play. Here's jersey. Or like, yeah, that's definitely Hollywood. That's that Argo moment when they figure out, all the stuff is going on and they're like running after the plane. I was like, who's running after a plane? Come on. Anyways, tangents.
Yeah, I mean, so and I guess another thing I wanted to say that I see in myself in Rudy is that I played baseball for the first time ever as my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
I never played baseball growing up at all, but I started to become a huge New York Mets fan. I was watching every single game and I decided I want to play baseball.
Yeah.
I had no prior experience playing baseball other than in the backyard with my brother and friends. And I wanted to do it. I had no natural gift at it whatsoever, like Rudy, but I worked really hard at it and I ended up playing. I played, all 4 years, captain of the team. And it was, so for me, that's kind of
the team. See?
I was captain of the team.
Brandon, you and I have a similar sort of thing going on here because when I let me back it up a little bit. Okay. You're saying you didn't start until you were in high school. So I didn't start dancing till I was in middle school. And that's because probably 7th grade. And that's because I made the show choir. And it was mainly like, show choirs, dancing and singing. So I had never danced before then. And then at the end of my 8th grade year, it comes time for you to like fill out the form that says like what high school you're going to go to. And you check the box. And both of my sisters went to Leland High School. And that was the high school that was closest to our home. And I was like, all of my friends are going to Pioneer. I don't know anyone going to Leland. So I checked the box for Pioneer and I was like, I'm going to Pioneer. Like, that's what's happening. Like, didn't talk to my parents, just was like, that's where I'm going. And so, which is not close. I mean, it's not terribly far, but it's not close to our house. So then I tell my parents and I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to Pioneer. And they're like, what? No, you're not. You're not going there. And I was like, no, I am. And they're like, well, if you're going to go there, if we're going to send you there, you have to try out for the dance team. And the dance team was really good at the time. They're not as good now, but they were really good at the time. Like I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to make it on that team because they're too good. And so I tried out and I made it on the team. And then senior year became the captain. What do you know? Never had a single dance lesson in like a studio, but here I am. Because hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard, as Kevin Durant says.
Yes, that's something that's always stuck with me too, ever since he said that quote, and it rings true, for sure. Although I didn't always work hard, and maybe there were some days that you also didn't work hard. And I think that's just human.
That is human. So then from there, did you continue your journey to college and play baseball, or was that it? High school?
I played club baseball in college. Okay. I had an opportunity to play baseball in college. Mm-hmm. I was told that, if I, worked at a few things that I could very easily play Division II college baseball, but I ultimately decided to focus on my academics instead. Mm-hmm. And then once I found out there was a club baseball team at the university I attended, I did that for a full year, and it was fun. We got to like travel and play other schools as well. And it was fun while it lasted. Sometimes baseball can get a little too clicky, like if you're not in that inner circle of friends on the team, sometimes you have a way of getting shunned out.
You have no idea. I live in what's called a baseball town. Like, baseball is everything in this tiny little city in LA. It's like, if you're not in Little League, you're nothing. Like, it's very cutthroat all the way, because a lot of times the Little League here goes on to the Little League World Series, like almost like at least every other season or something like that. And it's ridiculous. Like, it's super competitive around here. And I don't know why. And we have at least 2 baseball Hall of Famers from this area. I don't remember who they are, but I'm like, for that to be what we have, and we only have like 16,000 people in this like little tiny area, little space, like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know any Hall of Famers, but there was a Major League Baseball player that did attend my same high school.
Oh.
His name was Joe LaHood. Mm-hmm. He wasn't an all-star or anything. But I attended a small technical high school in Danbury, Connecticut, known as Henry Abbott Tech. Mm-hmm. And he attended there as well, played for the Red Sox, bounced around a little bit. And I think there was...
Red Sox.
I was watching a Mets game once, and they were playing the Nationals when Bryce Harper was on at the time. And I forget exactly what he did. He was like the youngest player to do something. And they were like, hey, he's the first Major League Baseball player to do this since Joe LaHood. And I was like, I know that name.
Hey, it's that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know from my high school, like, is there anyone that's like famous? I know at my 20-year, I'm dating myself, at my 20-year high school reunion, like, for some reason, I felt like I didn't like think I was like, known. But when I got there, they're like, hey, Miss Movies, it's Miss Movies. She's here. And I was like, what? Why does anyone care? Number one. But I was like, that doesn't make any sense. There's more important people here to talk with. I don't know. Anyways, I thought it was weird.
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know. So the Mets, how long did that last? And are there any movies about the Mets?
So I've been a Mets fan my whole life. Mm-hmm. My dad's a huge Mets fan. He used to bring me to games as a kid, so it just kind of stuck. Mm-hmm. Any movies about the Mets? No, but there's movies with the Mets in it.
Okay, so wait, Fever Pitch, is that the Mets?
No, that's all about the Red Sox. All about the Red Sox.
Okay.
Moneyball has a little bit of Mets in it. Billy Beane, he was drafted signed by the Mets at a young age, and that's a big part of the storyline there about his failure to become a fully fledged Major League Baseball player.
What about 8 Men Out? Who's that? That's the White Sox, right? 8 Men Out.
Yes. Okay. That would be the Chicago White Sox. Yeah. Men in Black 3 also feature the New York Mets. Actually, one thing that I love about Men in Black 3 is there's like this interdimensional alien that can see all possible futures, and he says that his favorite moment in human history is the 1969 Mets winning the World Series against all odds.
Whoa, okay.
So that's what I love about the Mets is like they're and this is also a reason why I think a lot of famous comedians are also Mets fans. There's a very fine line between comedy and tragedy. They're for the most part like always the underdogs, and they always, whenever they don't win very often, but when they do, it's always in grand fashion, and they're interesting to watch. You just never know what year is going to be the year that it's going to happen.
That's why you continue on, right? That's why you're a fan.
Exactly. In 1969, they went from being the worst team in Major League Baseball, a laughing stock, a joke in 1968, to being the World Series champion, beating the Baltimore Orioles, by the way, who were juggernauts at the time. And I mean, there was even like sayings like, because that was the year that man first walked on the moon. And people would say, hey, if man could walk on the moon, the Mets could win the World Series. And sure enough, both happened.
Nice. Hey.
Even in 1986, they weren't necessarily the underdogs in the season. They were the best team in baseball all year. They were the biggest villains in the league. Everyone hated them. They were the kind of guys who would be out until like 4 a.m. partying, doing whatever they wanted, show up, be jerks, and still win. So I guess you could say like maybe
that's your trajectory, right?
Yeah, that's maybe what you could say inspired the hitman a little bit.
Perfect.
Maybe not the best role models, but hey, role models nonetheless.
So,
I was once flying across the country to a live Schmoedown, and Darryl Strawberry was on my plane. So maybe he gave me a few words of advice.
Did he?
Maybe I listened.
Okay. But did he?
Who can say?
Really?
I don't know.
Oh,
he was definitely. I will confirm 100%.
I thought we were going to have some, news that we could spread. Start spreading the news of what Darryl Strawberry told to Brianne and Hanna.
Maybe one day I'll reveal exactly what he said to me.
Well, that was a letdown.
He was 100% on the plane.
Okay. I believe it. Did he give the same advice to everyone? He got up on the speaker. He's like, hey, this is Darryl Strawberry. No. I just want to tell everyone on the plane. Okay.
We were actually standing at baggage claim together. And he was like, hey, kid, come over here. And then he said what he said.
I want to believe it. I don't know about the hey, kid, come over here part.
That's what he said. It was almost like a commercial, Like, thanks, Mean Joe. Like something like that. Except I'm a little older.
I was like, I don't know if I've come into close contact with any sort of, sports celebrities or just celebrity. I know one time I did come into contact with a celebrity, like unknowingly. I was at Disneyland, with my daughter, and we were in line for Autopia. She was maybe like 3 at the time. And there was a little boy behind us, and and they were about the same age. So they were playing, and I was talking to the mom, and the mom had like probably a nanny or, someone or probably not a relative based on what their conversation was kind of like, but it seemed like it was her nanny. And I was like talking to her for quite a long time because of the line. And then at some point I was just like, oh my God, I know who this is. And I was like, it's Jane Krakowski from 30 Rock. Like it took me so long to figure it out. But I was like, that was an exciting moment. But anyways, that's the closest I've ever come in contact with any sort of celebrity person on the other side.
Yes.
I'm surprised it's not more often, because I feel like I bump into celebrities like fairly frequently. Actually, one that walked by me at Disneyland and didn't even realize it at the time was Jamie Foxx.
Oh, interesting.
So somebody we were with was like, I think Jamie Foxx just walked by, and we're like, you're crazy. And then the next day, some like paparazzi photo of him popped up wearing the exact same clothes we saw him.
You're like, that's right.
The next day, you're like, oh, that was.
I mean, you do see a fair amount of celebrities like in LA, just in general, but like I never would talk to them or go up to them. That's the other thing.
Sure.
I met Mike Vitar once because I know his wife. And I was like, wait, you're married to Benny the Jet from The Sandlot? What? What? Wait a minute. That makes sense.
Baseball movies.
Speaking of baseball movies, I love The Sandlot. How have you seen the other Sandlots? The second one, the third one. I want to say there's a fourth one, but
I think I own the second one on DVD, but I've never seen it.
It's so bad.
Never seen it.
All of them are very bad. One of them has time travel, of course. Yeah,
no.
I would. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh my.
Yes. I think that's the one with Luke Perry. Whatever one's with Luke Perry is the time travel one. Sure. So anyways.
I see we have Billy Pollahan in the chat saying, I came into contact with a celebrity. His name was Brandon Hanna.
Oh, this is true. That's right.
This is true. I am
that is true.
Famous.
Some
may say.
In some corners of the internet, Brandon Hanna is famous. I believe it 100%.
Thank you. Maybe not as famous as you, but I'll get there.
No. I'm on the down slope. You're on the up slope. That's how it goes.
You're still ahead, though. You're still ahead. We haven't crossed paths on the ladder.
I like that you just accept it. You're still ahead. Still on the down slope, but still ahead. Okay. It's all right. Listen, I don't need to be flattered. I don't.
I say it how it is. That's
okay.
That's what
Thank you.
This show's all about.
Gotta have the truth.
Gotta speak the truth. That's one thing I'm guaranteed to give you on this show every week is the truth.
No filter whatsoever.
None.
So what's a scene or from a film or just a film in general that triggers a memory for you that's either happy or sad?
Oh, a scene that triggers a memory?
Yeah.
Wow.
I gave you no time to think about this.
No time to think about this at all.
But we could go to commercial. I could talk to some people in the chat while you're thinking about it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This is like, I'll say it. It's the first one that popped into my head.
Okay.
The opening scene of Return of the King, where it's Smeagol and Deagle on the boat and they're fishing. I remember.
You know this scene.
Yes. I remember I went to the midnight premiere of that film with my grandfather and my brother, who fell asleep during the movie, by the way.
Your brother or your grandfather?
My brother fell asleep.
Okay.
The amount of disrespect, I swear. But I remember that was a big deal for me because I begged somebody, please take me to the midnight screening of this movie because I was so in love with Lord of the Rings at the time. Still am, obviously. But I had to see this movie, the very first showing I possibly could. And I had so much hype for it. I wanted this to be the greatest movie ever made. And it might be the only film in my whole life that has lived up to such a grand hype. To this day, it's still my favorite movie of all time. And when I see that scene in particular, I think about, at first, I was like, is this the right movie? Because there was such a weird way for the film to start.
It was different.
You know? I was like, is this Return of the King? This is not where we left things off in the Two Towers. And then when the ring showed up, I was like, oh, okay. Because, you know, I was pretty young at the time, so I didn't pick up on it as fast.
Okay, so if you had to have people take you, you were younger than 16? Yeah. Or you just didn't have your license? Or
I was younger than 16.
Oh, so little. I remember when The Lord of the Rings came out when I was like in college or out of college. And I'm like, oh, so old. So old.
I do see people in the chat accusing me of either being a good clone of the evil Brandon or me being Brandon and the evil clone is hiding. And I can assure you, I'm the same Brandon as always. I just have a guest on the show who's just a delight. How could I possibly be mean to Brianne Chandler? How could I possibly be mean to her? One of the greatest Schmoedown competitors of all time, part of some of the most entertaining storylines, and now an amazing commentator at the desk.
Oh, thank you. I feel like that's where my home is, at the desk. Like that's where I actually feel that I do my best performing for the show. Because it wasn't in competition. Competition is just not my thing. I just don't like it in general. So there's a lot of anxiety that goes into competition. At least with Free for All, there was no pressure, but I always put so much pressure on myself that like all the other ones just I couldn't do.
Yeah, definitely I mean, I've always been a competitive person, so I guess it kind of suits me very well to now that I'm not playing baseball anymore, to be able to compete in another sport, a mental sport, if you will. So it's great to have that back. But also I do like being non-competitive at the same time. Like it must be nice to just be able to sit at the desk and enjoy the Schmoedown without the pressure of the Schmoedown.
Yeah, the no pressure thing is key because like you were saying, how you did baseball and, you know, you have that competitive, you know, spirit to you. Like when I was in high school on the dance team, again, like we did competitions and like every time I was like, why can't we just do football season and like do some basketball, like half times or whatever? Like, why do we have to go and compete? You know, no one was going to listen to me because they've been doing it for years. So they're like, well, this is what we do. We go and we win. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. So then like when I got to college, they had, you know, the USC Song Girls and they had the USC Dance Force. And my sister was like, okay, well, let's hear. My sister went to USC also. And she was like, the Song Girls aren't as, I'd say, crisp or sharp as the dance force, because the dance force will go and do competitions. So the dance force is very close to what you've been doing, on your dance team. And I was like, well, I don't want to try out for that, because no, like, I don't want to be a part of a competition again. Like, I just got out of that. So then, I wasn't even thinking of like trying out to be a song girl for USC, because I just thought like, I've done dance and stuff. Like, I don't really need to do this anymore. It's a big commitment and things like that. And one of the girls who was on the team was like, hey, why don't you come to tryouts? Because I know you like to dance, and just come to the first one and learn the dance. And then you don't have to do it again. And I was like, all right, fine. So like, I reluctantly go to this tryout. And then I end up getting on the squad. And I was like, of course, that's how it happens, right? When you're just like, I don't really care to be here, but but I'll do this anyways. I'll go through the whole thing. I was like, let's see how far I can take. That was my next part. Like, once I went to the one day, I was like, well, let's see how far I can take this. Like, how far can this go? Well, I figured out how far it could go. I think the other part to that was like the very first day of tryouts, they have everyone out on this like these stairs in this concrete area, and we're all learning in front of this heritage hall. And the football players start coming out, because that's where they have practice, or where they watch their game tape or whatever. And we're doing the routine that we've been learning. And this one football player like is walking down, and he comes straight up to me and he's like, you're going to make it. You're really good. And I was like, okay, thanks. And then he like left. And I was like, well, I should probably continue, because that guy said I was good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something dumb like that.
I mean, sometimes that's all it takes. It's for one person to believe in you. And you're like,
that's right. Just one person.
I can do this, just like in Rudy.
It's my Rudy moment. My Rudy moment. Bringing it back. Mm-hmm. So for you, that triggers a happy memory because you were with your grandfather and your brother, although it also triggers a sad memory because your brother fell asleep. At what point in the film did he fall asleep?
I don't know for certain what point he fell asleep, but I think it was very early on. So it is
like,
tragic.
It's the midnight show.
It's tragic that he fell asleep during what I consider to be the greatest film of all time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did he go back and watch it?
I think later he's seen it. He's got to. I mean, I once that thing came out on DVD, I watched it all the time, and he was there for a lot of that.
Okay,
I think he's definitely watched it for sure.
And then he's older or younger?
He is older, like 2.5 years older.
Are you the youngest in your family?
Yeah, it's just me and him. He's my only brother.
Nice. I am also the youngest, and I have 2 older sisters who are very competitive.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would still be competing if they could. They would do like, they would sing in competitions. So American Idol just didn't come out, around the time that we were growing up. Otherwise, I'm sure they probably would have like gone and tried out for that, because they're good. They be good.
I mean, well, speaking of singing competitions, I see you have a guitar on the wall behind you. You're learning how to play the guitar.
I'm learning.
Are we going to see you on American Idol anytime soon?
No, but isn't there like an age cutoff? I'm way too old.
I don't know.
America's Got Talent. But again, it's competition. I would be like, I'm not doing a competition. But I was going to pull up on my phone. I started a count up to see like how long it's been since I've had my first practice for guitar. So it has been, look, maybe you can see it. It's been, it's backwards though. 3 months, 1 week and 4 days, unless that comes like turns around for you.
Yeah. It's not backwards for us.
Okay, cool. Yeah. There you go. And I'm like, hey, I've done pretty good for that amount of time. And the amount that I've learned is pretty crazy. I had a lesson yesterday. So right now it's through, FaceTime or whatever, and which can be a lot harder because there's certain things where he's showing me a concept or a strumming pattern. And I'm like, yesterday, I was like, I just can't get it. Like, you're going to have to make me a video and I'm going to have to watch it over and over and over again. And then I will be able to do it. But right now, as you're showing me, I can't figure it out. So, So I was practicing that new strum pattern today, and then like I totally got it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I wish I could have just like figured this, like if he was right here, right next to me, I could totally do it. But so anytime, so I've been working on one song specifically, and like he's like, okay, now that you have it down that way, I want you to try to add this strum pattern to this section. And I was like, okay, so now I got to go back and learn that pattern and then put it in. And he's like, okay. So then I put those two patterns together. And yesterday I presented that to him. And he's like, great. Now that you know that pattern, your first pattern sounds better than your second pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that first pattern and the second pattern, we're going to put them together into a new strum pattern. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. So that's what I'm working on. And it's kind of crazy that he changes it up. I mean, he does it so I can get better. So I understand that. Like, I understand the concept of like practicing to make perfect. Although he says practice makes permanence. And he says that you have to be really careful when you practice, because if you're practicing incorrectly, you will always do it incorrectly. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I got to make sure that I do everything correct, which is impossible, but I'm working on it. There's one like song that I have down really good that he's like, you just have it. So if you want to like continue and we can change things and we can add things and do stuff like that, he's like, we can. But you know, if you're ready to move on, we can move on. So he was like, how about you give me a list of songs that you want to learn? And I was like, oh man, like I've been thinking about this for so long. But at the same time, like it's hard because the only songs that I know that I could sing to you are like worship songs. So I'm like, well, what about songs that aren't worship songs that I really like? That, you know, I like Led Zeppelin, I like Queen. Like I should probably come up with, you know, something that's not a worship song that I could probably do at like a campfire and people would know what it is who don't necessarily go to church. So I came up with some songs. And then I was like, I kept going and I was like, at what point is he like, you're absolutely out of your mind? Like, I don't know which songs are super difficult. So I just like put in, you know, Fleetwood Mac's Landslide. And I was like listening to it. I was like, I think this might be too advanced. Like you hear like certain things. I'm like, I don't know. But I can share with you my list of things that I put together. And you can tell me if I'm absolutely...
Well, when I think of campfire songs, I immediately think of Star Trek V: The Final Frontier.
Okay, Jerry Goldsmith or Goldstein.
Goldsmith, but he doesn't do this one. It's a classic. They sing "Row, row, row your boat."
Yes, row, row, row your boat. See, I put together like 3 like traditional campfire songs that I was like, I could maybe do like She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, and I could probably do You Are My Sunshine, and The More We Get Together, like those things like kids could sing. But then I went into things like Take Me Home Country Roads. Like, is that easy? Is that hard? I don't know. John Denver, it sounds pretty good. Or Don't Stop Me Now. Like, out of all of Queen's catalog, is that like one that you're like, no, maybe you should try something a little bit easy? Like, what are, maybe I just need to know like a list of the easier songs to start with. Gimme Shelter of the Rolling Stones, You Really Got Me, Van Halen. I threw in Lee by Tenacious D in there just because I wanted to troll him. And I was like, I want to see if he's like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, I like to joke around with him. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know if he's ready for my jokes. Like, there's a lot of times that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to hit. Like, I'll text him and I'll think like, is this joke going to hit? Or is he going to be like, what are you talking about? Supposedly they do hit, so that's good. Let's see. Other things like Creep by Radio. Oh, he was like, are there any Radiohead songs that you would want to do? I was like, I got 100% on Rock Band for Creep, so maybe I should try that one. I'm a dork. Anyways.
What's it like going from Rock Band to a real guitar?
Exactly. We're going to see how it goes. But in Rock Band, I was the singer, so there's that. And then I was like, oh, I almost forgot the like movie nerds anthem, which is Stuck in the Middle with You. In my mind, that's a movie nerds anthem on some level. Obviously not the like nerd level of like Star Wars or Star Trek or something like that, but a little more.
But like a hashtag film Twitter kind of way. Yes,
that's right. And then things like, I don't know if you know the Civil Wars, but I really like Barton Hollow by them, and Sun Shower by Chris Cornell, which I know Janine likes, and Janine's in the chat. Hey, Janine. So
I refuse to acknowledge Janine in the
chat.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. But we do have Adelaide Spence.
Hey, Adelaide.
Deep cut. But when I first tried to learn guitar, I wanted to learn the soundtrack to Okami.
I don't know that soundtrack.
Me neither. It must really be a deep cut, Adelaide, because we don't know. But thank you for sharing.
Can we talk about Krista Todd's comment? I love Bib's video. It was needed for me as I am sad Brandon is an evil clone now.
Yes, there's been a lot of chat going about Bib's video that he made, kind of poking fun.
Yeah.
The prepared statement that I gave regarding.
Is it poking fun? So is it a parody then?
Yes, a parody, if you will. Which I guess imitation is the finest form.
Yeah, it's a compliment.
Flattery.
It's a compliment.
It's a compliment.
You wanted to take what you did and make it funny.
People want to be me. I understand.
I understand it too.
And no, I'm not an evil clone. This is who I am now. Learn
it's just
to love
you.
It. Oh, let's see. We have Adelaide saying it's a game about Japanese mythology with a watercolor aesthetic. Adore it. Oh, I do know what you are referring to now, Adelaide. I've never played the game, but I am familiar with it. I know that it exists. That's all I can give you.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like it.
But Brianne, I want to go back to something you said earlier. I thought it was interesting when you talked about learning the guitar that practice is permanence. I thought that's something I think that goes with anything, not just playing an instrument, but also with sports as well. I remember when I was first learning how to play baseball, one thing the coaches said was they were actually happy that I had never played baseball before because I had no bad habits, bad habits to break.
Yes.
So
that is so true.
That reminded me of that.
I'm trying to break a habit right now. I can show you what it is. It's really frustrating.
What is the habit? We're about to see which bad guitar habit Brianne needs to break. You're seeing this for the first time ever.
First live. Of all, I changed my pick to match the theme of your show.
Oh,
which is
wow. That is perfect, actually. Wow, that's the same color scheme as the crosshairs up in the corner right by you. That is amazing.
Look, if perfectly I move my head perfectly, then I can be. There we go. Anyways, so right now, I'm having some trouble going to a C because I want to put my fingers down one at a time. And that's like, you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to go. And I'm like, I can't just go. It doesn't just go. Like they won't go in the right spot. So I have to place them down. So right now I'm trying to work on getting my ring finger to be the first one that goes down. Because if I work on that, then the rest will easily go. But anyways, that's what I'm working on. Trying to break that bad habit. It's hard because that's for 3 months. That's how I've been doing it. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like that's just how I do things. If I move one finger at a time, it'll work. But
yeah, I do own a guitar, but I don't know how to play it.
Okay, why do you? So if you don't know how to play it, why do you have one? Number one.
I got one, I think, when I was about 10 years old with the intention of learning how to play it.
Okay.
I had a few lessons. It never really panned out.
Now, in those lessons, what kind of lessons were they? Were they a group? Were they what was the situation?
I didn't get very far. I think it was a long time ago. Okay. But I think I remember just trying to learn different chords.
Okay. And it was one-on-one or it was
one-on-one, yeah.
Okay. And you gave up after like 2 weeks? Like what?
It just wasn't in the cards. I think at the time, I one instrument I did learn how to play was the trumpet. I played the trumpet in middle school, and my freshman year of high school, I also played the trumpet as well. But then I decided that I was more passionate about baseball, so I went that avenue instead.
That makes sense.
But I do still have the trumpet.
Okay, where is the trumpet now? And you still have the guitar.
I do. I also own a saxophone.
Okay, wait. There's a lot of instruments, which you are telling me.
I could basically start my own band if I wanted
to. One-man band. If only you could do all those at the same time, which would be impossible. But you know what? Okay, so the other day I was learning this riff. I mean, I could do it right now, but it would be bad.
It would be bad. It wouldn't be the first time we've had something bad on this show.
All right, let's see. Let me see if I can try it.
Thank you, Kevin Smets.
I was like, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it that well.
I think we'll be able to hear it just fine.
Apologies if this is terrible. Okay, so you got to know that riff, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that was, I've been working on certain like riffs, and then I was like, Seven Nation Army has got to be number one that everyone plays, like, because it's just so famous. So then I was like looking into like Seven Nation Army, and I was like, oh, the White Stripes, and I learned that Meg White had started playing guitar in like 1997, and then they got big in like 2000, and I was like, how is this possible? How is it possible? But I mean, I guess anything is possible. I guess
anything is possible.
Can I be there? Can I in 3 years be like ready to go? 4 years, maybe. However long. So anyways, yeah. So there you go. Seven Nation Army. I asked my guitar instructor, I was like, I was doing this other pentatonic riff, and then I was like, oh, I taught myself this, and then I do the Seven Nation Army one, and then I was like, how many of your students actually have done this for you? Like, and do you have a bet with yourself, like, will this student do Seven Nation Army riff? And if so, how many lessons in until they do the Seven Nation Army riff? Like, there's got to be some sort of thing that he goes off of. And he was like, nope, I don't have that bet with myself. And I was like, you should have that bet with yourself, because I'm sure we all pretty much do it.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I wanted to ask you was, you talked about how you don't like being competitive with other people, but learning how to play the guitar, you must find yourself being competitive with yourself at times, constantly, when you want to just keep improving and keep improving. So do you feel that way?
So true. Okay, so there's this personality test. It's called Enneagram. Some people know about it, some people don't, but I am what's called Enneagram 1. And Enneagram 1 is like it's called the reformer, but really it's kind of like the perfectionist. Like, I have to have everything perfect. And for the longest time, like the first however many lessons that I had with Nate, I was just like, I feel so bad that this man is listening to terrible guitar like every week. Like every week he's got to listen to me screw this up all the time. And I'm like, I couldn't get over that mental barrier. Like, I just felt like, I need to be better. I need to be better at this. And so every week, and that's the one thing, like having this instructor that's one-on-one, like he holds me accountable for me getting better. Like, if I didn't have him, I would probably have given up way earlier and probably wouldn't know any songs, because I'd be like, oh, I want to do this. I don't know how, and maybe I can learn through YouTube or Musician or whatever it's called that they have on, they have some app that helps you. I was like, but at the same time, like, those things aren't going to tell me that I need to come back here and have this done by this amount of time. I'm a scheduler. Hey, we got some people that have taken Enneagram. Abby Friel's a type 4. Adelaide is a type 8. So nice. We should have you take your Enneagram test right now on the air so we can find out what number you are, Brandon. Let's do it.
Right now on the air. How do I even do that? How long does that take? Is that bad radio? I don't know.
It's a big thing. But yeah, it kind of tells you a lot about yourself. And if you know like other people that have taken it, then it's kind of cool that you can see like what the differences are. And there's a lot of things about Enneagram 1 that I'm like, yep, that's so true. And then other things, it's like lots of patience. And I was like, no, that's wrong. I have zero patience. Like, It's just, I wish I had
have lots of patience.
Yeah.
You try sitting at the desk with Chandru for 2 matches in a row.
Hey, that's kind of like my thing with Mike. Like, I had to face him over and over again. I feel like I faced him like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, it just was like, oh, we're doing this again. Here we are again. Great. Can't wait.
I mean, people don't talk about it often enough, but you and Mike's storylines, your rivalries, I mean, that's almost Schmoedown Hall of Fame stuff.
It was fun. It was hard in terms of like, because he will come at you, you know, and I'm like, I don't want, but like being a character, you have to go for it too. And so it's just like, oh, sometimes it can get rough, especially in that area, just because a lot of times people don't always know what is real and what isn't. There is a blurry line.
It's all real.
It's all real. That's just how it is. No one's
ever told me to play a character. No.
It's like, I'm fuzzy. How do I get that back? Oh, there we go. Not fuzzy anymore. Just move it around. Move around.
Yeah, move it around. But speaking of Mike Kalinowski, I'm really expecting, I'm not going to say hoping, I'm expecting to be playing Mike at some point in this upcoming Inner Geekdom tournament. So
I'm expecting.
We'll see how I fare. But
that would be a great match.
It would be. I'll say it'll be fun.
I'm just excited you get to play people that aren't Chandru, because like
you're excited. I'm excited.
Chris Todd says, I know my Hogwarts house, but not the Enneagram thing. My Hogwarts house is Hufflepuff. I'm pretty sure anyone Enneagram 1 has got to also be Hufflepuff. It's just kind of, it seems like it would be what you are.
That is something that I know, and I'm a Ravenclaw.
I was gonna guess, darn it. And I would have actually guessed Ravenclaw, because that's where I see you. That's where I see you.
I think it's obvious once you say it.
I feel like I don't know very many Gryffindors, although my husband's a Gryffindor, but I was like, other than that, I don't think I know anymore.
Yeah, Gryffindor, that's like, I know other Ravenclaws that say this anyway. I won't necessarily lump myself in with them, but there's a lot of Ravenclaws that when other people tell them like, oh, I'm a Gryffindor, they kind of like roll their eyes like, oh, that's like, of course you are. That's so vanilla. Everybody wants to be a Gryffindor.
Oh man. Do they want to be that though? Just because Harry Potter's that? Is that why?
I guess everyone wants to think that they're courageous. Everyone wants to think that they'll do the right thing. True. I mean, Ravenclaws know facts are facts. Period.
That's right. My daughter's a Ravenclaw, so I see it.
it. For sure. Hufflepuffs, they're all right.
Well, J.K. Rowling says that if she were in any house, she would want to be in Hufflepuff. So.
Oh, really?
Don't know what house she's technically in, but that's the one she would want to be in.
Yeah,
we're just chill in the Hufflepuff house, you know.
Hufflepuffs are just straight chilling. They got that going for them for sure. And we do have Adelaide Spence agreeing here. Everyone wants to be the main character.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it's okay to be a Cedric Diggory. Maybe your ending isn't the best, but you know.
I've considered. Okay, so when I went to SC, my major was theater, and like the whole time I was just like, you know, I really want to teach high school theater. Like that's what I wanted to do. And then I had one acting professor who asked me to stay after class and was like, I think you should do this. I think you should like get an agent and you should go out there and you should continue to practice. And like, I think you could do something. And I was like, that's great. I just want to teach high school kids. Like, I was like, that's a really nice compliment coming from, you know, a professor that like knows their stuff and like has been in film and television before and was like up for the role of Indiana Jones. But like, I just want to teach high school kids. Like, and then cut to later, I go to work at a high school and like, I hated it, like just hated it. And I was like, what happened? Like, why, you know? And then anyways, I ended up teaching elementary school because I realized like there's a lot more theater aspect to teaching at the elementary level than there would be at the high school level with high school jerks. But where I was going with this is like, I've thought like later, like maybe in my old age now, I should go back into acting and get like some sort of mom role on some sort of sitcom where I have like 2 lines every other episode. Who knows? Like a small little role that could be something kind of fun. Who knows? But I do think about that, like, I should probably look into doing acting lessons again and getting back in that. But at the same time, that would require me getting an agent, and that's the hole. That's the hole I just like I can't make a bridge over. I can't figure out how to get there, Yeah. Like I gave it after that professor told me to do that, I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. And if nothing bites, then I'm just not going to continue that because that's not where I'm meant to be. So I gave it like a minimal try and like submitted to agents and stuff, and just nothing really came back. And I was like, see, this is why, I wasn't meant to do this, so this is not my lot in life. But yeah.
I've actually considered teaching myself, but I don't know if it's in the cards. I think I would do okay at it. But I think it's interesting like how we've kind of like talked about all different aspects of our lives and our interest and the things that we like to do, attempt to do. And I think in a lot of ways doing what I'm doing now, like even with like hosting, for example, it's provided me an avenue to get that fulfillment that I've gotten from other things in the past. So like, for instance, with hosting, and something that I do want to try to do on this channel is get into science communication and talk about science related topics, what's going on in the world of science. And
like you should be the one that's telling us about the Tesla launch. Like we should have you on camera do that. And you know what? I do know someone that I do know the head of HR at SpaceX. So if you ever need to get that on, be like, we need someone on camera. Hey, I got someone for you. Like, here, how about not that person? How about Brianne Hanna telling us all about this launch with these astronauts? That's who we need.
And for those who don't know, while I'm not doing things like this, I actually am a mechanical engineer. So I do have a background in science and mathematics and all that fun stuff. So I would love to definitely explore that avenue. But also, even with hosting, it even gives me fulfillment out of things that I used to get through baseball, right? We talked about being competitive with yourself. When you have an at-bat, for example, and you strike out or you pop up or you ground out, or even if you get a hit, but maybe it was kind of a bloop single, it wasn't that line drive you were looking for, you immediately want to get back in the batter's box and try again and improve upon yourself. And I find myself doing that same thing even when I'm hosting, whether it be like AfterBuzz TV, Popcorn Talk. Even here, I find myself hosting a show and immediately going like, all right, I immediately want to get back on camera and host another show because I did A, B, and C wrong, and I want to get better at it.
And that's how you get better. You just have to keep practicing. So I totally understand that. And I was definitely at that point at one time. I remember like when I decided to go real hardcore with hosting in terms of like, I was like, you know what? I want to explore this more because I've been doing podcasting, and then I started doing more on camera. I wanted to do stuff with, Collider or whoever, and like really be an on-camera presence for movies. And so I went and looked up like, how do I get hosting classes? Like, how do I make the next step? And I had been doing, like, I had been Miss Movies since 2004 is when I started my website. So I started my website, which was hitormissmovies.com at the time. It's not anymore. And, later became Miss Movies out of Hit or Miss Movies. So just to call myself that. And because it was a play on words and I thought I was clever. And, I had podcasted with the Film Vault, which I don't even know if they're still on. They probably could be still on, but they started in 2002. And I was like part of their show regularly. And I was like, I want to figure out how to do this more and, start up things with like Stacy and podcasting and things like that. And so I went to a hosting boot camp by Marky Costello, who is like the hosting agent in Los Angeles. Like if you want to host, you probably would want her as your agent if you could get her. But she hosts a boot camp, which is, 2-day weekend, and teaches you the basics. And basically from there, she'll invite you to do her classes, or she'll give you, like at the end, she'll give you some sort of recommendations. Like, I think you should be in my beginner class, my intermediate class, my advanced class, or I think that maybe this isn't the right avenue for you, or, you know, maybe you need to do some other things. Right. So by the end of that, I was invited to her advanced class. And I think part of that was because I had the podcasting experience and like a little bit of on camera experience before going in there. So I knew my brand. A lot of people didn't know their brands. And I did that for maybe a year and a half, and I was in her class and I could tell I was getting better and I was using the techniques that were being used. And then there came a point where I just didn't like who I was becoming. Because in hosting, it's all about you. And it's all about your opinion, and you're not supposed to have a filter. And I was really struggling with just like the idea of that, the idea of saying just what's on my mind at any given moment, and not filtering what I'm saying. And I just came to a point where I didn't like who I was becoming. And I didn't like my opinions, and I didn't like doing any of it anymore because I just felt like I was too self-involved. Not that there are people that, you know, not that every host is self-involved. Like I want to make that clear. Like, I don't think that I don't think that all hosts in general are self-involved. But I just felt that's what was happening to me. And because I am so much about other people and their opinions, and I want to know about them rather than them know about me, I just couldn't get over that. And so that's when I was like, I have to pull back from this. And when I started pulling back from most on-camera stuff. So that's why you won't see me do a lot of shows and things like that anymore. What do you need? I need $1. You need $1? Can you ask Daddy?
You heard it here, folks.
For your wallet? Sorry about that. I don't have it here, but go look in your jar, and then can you close the door? Because I'm still doing a show. Thank you.
You never know what's going to happen on this show.
You never know. You never know. A little friend's going to pop in. But yeah.
Movie Trivia Schmoedown competitor, right? Mark Ellis stopped by one day.
That's right. So. That's No. No is here. But yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's why I started like doing less on camera stuff. I mean, other things were going on in my life, just certain shifts, but like I loved hosting for a long time until I didn't. And I just thought, it's interesting that there can be that shift. But also like with that shift comes growth. Like I feel like I've grown in a lot of other areas of my life because I've not really stepped in front of the camera as much. But I do like the one thing that I continue to come back to and I continue to think about and miss is film therapy, just because like that isn't about me, which is good. And that's like what I don't want things to be about me. It's about someone else and their experiences, and using, an art form to talk about how it has helped them in their life. So the last question I should ask to you, Brandon, is what is a film that helps you through difficult times?
A film that helps me through difficult times.
One that you would watch if you're like, you know what, things really suck right now. I'm going to watch this movie.
Immediately one comes to mind, but if I say it, I'm afraid you're going to think I'm a psychopath.
Okay. Is it American Psycho? All right.
No, but not too far off. Actually, Evil Dead 2013. That movie.
Okay, this is with Jane Levy?
Yes.
Okay,
that movie.
Or Levy?
I say Levy.
Okay,
I don't know
Levy.
For certain. I probably should.
Yeah, because you do that show. I
hosted the after show on AfterBuzz TV for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which you should definitely go check out. You can see the playlist here on my YouTube channel. It's a great show. Highly recommend. But I do love Jane Levy. But I do go to that one, because it's people like, I know like people like Andrew Guy, he's mentioned he can't even like sit through because it's so gruesome. There's a lot of blood and gore, and it's rough for a lot of people to get through. But for me, I love horror films. I love everything that goes into making them. and I love the Evil Dead franchise. And that's a film that is, in a weird way, is kind of like comfort food, because like I've watched a lot of the behind the scenes footage, listen to the audio commentary by the director and the cast members, and I have a real appreciation for everything that goes into making horror films with practical effects. And I can watch something happen in a horror film and know that it's not real, so I don't get grossed out by it. But I can appreciate the hard work that went into achieving that shot,
to making it look real. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And also the third act of that film, period, is perfection. It is totally badass and awesome, and it's kind of uplifting. And I see we have PLD in the chat saying Star Trek 4. You know what? That's actually another great one for me. I've fallen in love with Star Trek 5 myself, personally. I know
I've only seen the first two, and then the one with Chris Pine, because Chris Pine, come on.
Star Trek 5 is not beloved, but it is beloved by me.
Okay.
Because don't take my pain away.
I did like the first two, so I feel like I should continue on, you know?
You should. Star Trek 5 has got a lot, about friendship, I think. It's very important. Being able to stand by your friends. Or not stand by them, which is something I'm familiar with also in the movie trivia Schmoedown. But I think that's about all the time that we have for this today, Brianne. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, for being on the show, and for helping me talk about, we did dive into the Schmoedown a little bit, but thank you for helping me talk about literally anything else.
Anything else.
Literally
anything else. That's what I'm here for. I'm glad, and I don't know if you know, but we did do an episode of Film Therapy pretty much on the show. Embedded. I hijacked this show. We did Film Therapy. So then I can go and write it in my book. So
this was your plan all along,
wasn't it? It was. But if I bring back Film Therapy in any sort of limited form, I'll say limited form, I would love to have you on to do it officially under the Film Therapy banner. And you're welcome to use the same answers that you used today or different ones. Okay.
I would love to be on and talk about Lord of the Rings, Rudy Rudiger, and Blood and Gore.
Yes, $99, guys. Rudy, we got to get him to say,
yes, thank you for reminding me.
Hitman. Like, I don't know what he's going to say, but
he could say a lot of things. I don't know. Yeah. Money talks. And so
money does talk.
So you'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, Brianne, while you may or may not be contemplating bringing Film Therapy back, eventually joining us back in the Schmoedown on the desk, where can people find you online?
The only place that I'm really around is Instagram. You can see it right below there with the @Miss_movies. Yep, that's about it. That's nothing else. No other places. Twitter.
You did inspire me to update my format to include the Instagram and Twitter logos. That way people know specifically where they can find you.
Perfect. So I'm glad that I can inspire you.
Is a little better for it. And of course, you can all find me on Twitter and Instagram, as you can see below, @BrandonHanna07. You could, of course, find me in this upcoming Movie Trivia Schmoedown Inner Geekdom tournament. Well, I'm just going to embarrass everybody, and it's going to be great. And it's going to be a tournament of vengeance, a tournament of payback. So until next time, guys, remember #80% and